What's going on, folks? Fight Day live chat, UFC Vegas 55, last event of a 7 consecutive weekend stretch for the UFC. We get a week off next week. Then we're back at it June 4th for Volkov versus Rosenstrike. But today we're talking about Holly Holm, Ketlin, Vieira. In terms of betting, your boy's on a four weekend winning streak. Had a little bit of a fumble on Bellator the other week, but still managed to scrape out profit with UFC the following night. So 4 straight winning weekends. Hoping to make it 5 would be a nice way to go into this 1 weekend break. Would be a nice way to even go into the wedding week that I'll be going through that May 30th week going into June. So, as I'm always going to reiterate, as I've been reiterating throughout the week, I will not have any content for UFC Vegas 56 other than the MMA Lockcast. I will have that edited and produced and researched, all that shit, and drop it maybe even before fight week actually starts. But when Monday kicks in for May 30th, your boy's going to be wrapped up with family, in-laws flying in, and all things that Indian weddings entail. So, if most of you guys know, we do a bunch of different events. So, it's a whole week extravaganza, pretty much. So, I'll be off for that June 4th week. I'll likely have to catch up on the card on the following Monday because on the Sunday I have an engagement party for one of my close friends. So, very busy week coming up in 2 weeks, but obviously this weekend is Vieira and Holm. Not just this weekend, in an hour and what is that, 2.5 hours, we'll be starting the first fight. So 4 p.m. Eastern start time for the prelims. Make sure you guys, um, yeah, let's make sure we try to get the most out of this event. I just went through some crazy shit with the weather up here. I tweeted it out. I said, "What the hell is going on in Brampton, where I'm from?" And we just got like a minute to minute and a half like tornado almost. Like the winds were the hot, like fastest winds I've ever seen. My For my bedroom, or mine and my wife's bedroom, we have like a windowsill with the window there, and there's enough space where we can put a couple of flower pots. And the wind just fucking pushed that shit open, dropped 2 of the flower plots, broke them, soil on top of the top half of my bed, and the ground. So I haven't even been able to clean that up because I went outside. Like this happened maybe 25 max 30 minutes ago. I went outside and all the neighbors were all just looking around like what the fuck just happened. And you can just hear ongoing thunder, you hear sirens fucking everywhere. um and yeah, people are looking around. Some people lost shingles off their roof. A tree came down just around the block. We lost a branch of one of the trees in our yard. Craziness, just absolute craziness. I've never seen anything like it. Closest thing I can remember is when I spent a weekend in Chicago years and years ago. I think we went there for Holly Holm versus Valentina Shevchenko. I could be off on that, but yeah, we went out for that card, and yeah, they had this one quick wind like flurry, like this craziness that happened. But I think this was probably more than that. Like it was bad. It was crazy. There's like leaves and bushes and stuff everywhere outside. Yeah, crazy. Like it even flipped the doormat to my place. Completely flipped it on its like 180. Crazy. Yeah, my guy Josh Shergo's living out here as well. Rexley, I'm sure my guy just felt that as well. Oh, branch hit his car. Ouch. Yeah, it was crazy. One of the craziest things I've ever seen. My mom was on the road and I like called her up. I'm like, hey, pull the fuck over. Luckily, she was like a little bit more east from where we were and I was heading east. And I told her, I'm like, just, she's like, she goes, it's totally fine over here. I'm like, no, pull the fuck over at the next plaza that you see and just sit and wait. And I called her back after and she's like, as soon as I hung up your call, it started. I'm like, good. I'm glad that you pulled over, but holy fuck, crazy. Hope everybody's all right. If anybody did get affected by that, let's get back into the MMA talk and get away from the near death experience that I felt, this oversensitive world. Love you guys. All right. Tristan Sharehouse in the chat. Appreciate you stopping by. Tammy, appreciate you stopping by as well. We got some fisticuffs to deal with a little bit later. Ryan Maston saying, what's good, y'all? Fight day. Let's go. Nothing better than a fight day. My guy, diehard MMA podcast saying, morning, Lucky Luck. Morning to you as well, my friend. Oh, yeah, you're on PST. So it's still like 10:30, like 10:30 over there, right? Fuck. I would love nothing more than morning fights. So 1 p.m. Pacific times is when it would start for you guys. Kung Dao Chicken saying, who's the apple pie shitter tonight? I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it's Chidi and Jakawani. I'm going to say it's Chidi. Out of the biggest favorites on this card, I don't feel that great about Chidi. We shall see. Good Lord, if it's Jelton Almeida. Bookies will be making out with a bag and a half tonight if that's the case. Jazz, appreciate you stopping by. Socrates in the chat, appreciate you stopping by, my friend. Socrates saying, also, if you all this card, but after listening to my favorite content creators, I feel confident going into the fights. Hopefully, the content creators you listen to are on the money tonight. I'm hoping I'm on the money tonight. We'll see how it goes. MPTV saying, geez, brother, glad you're safe. It's 75 degrees here in the 209. Yeah. It's nice and warm up here, but holy fuck, it was a crazy thunderstorm. Josh Sherga, right on the money here, saying, now that's over with. Let's crash some tickets. Love it, love it, love it. And Josh saying, greatest betting card tonight, said no one ever. I agree, man. This one's a shit show. I got bet myself. The free bet that I dropped for you guys was Sam Hughes, 1 unit at plus 145. Got 3 other bets, but since I am on at least a 3-event winning streak or 3-weekend winning streak, I'm strictly behind the Patreon for now. Until I hit my next losing weekend, then we'll go back to free picks until I can get back on a heater. Andrew Marchenko saying, I feel you a lot. A couple years ago, we had a terrible storm in California, and aftermath was the fallen tree on my car. Shit was salvaged, and neither insurance or city covered it. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. That would suck. There's got to be some sort of insurance that covers that, man. That's crazy. Isaiah saying, this storm just knocked my power out using my data for the stream. Yeah, man, I'm telling you. I'm glad I wasn't doing the stream while this happened. Lights were flickering. It was nuts. Die Hard saying it's perfect for me, man. The rest of the world can suck it. Fights start between 1 to 4 p.m. for me, depending on the card. Exactly. That's like the best start time. As an MMA fan, that is the best start time. Alex Gagnon saying people are still hammering Porker. Yeah, I saw Jailton get down to like minus 500 area. Let's see how that goes. Fuck. MPTV saying I'd have to agree about the apple cake shitter fritter. Chitty the shitter fritter. I don't know. Any good live bet spots you like? Good question there, Kung Dao Chicken. Let's see. Let me just take a quick look at the card here. Maybe Hooper late. Medic, obviously, Omar Morales after round 1. Parker Porter after round 1. Holmes after round 1, I'd say. I'd say Ricci after round 1, especially if they were grappling a lot in that first round. And Vienna didn't have any success. Yeah, and then probably Holm, but like I think she'll steadily be up throughout that fight. I got a very nasty cough coming right now. So let me just mute this so you guys don't have to hear it. Give me a sec. All right. Brian Lockhart saying Hooper by sub at plus 550. Only way he wins, right? That I really think that's the only way he wins. So we'll see if he's able to pull that off, but not too bad of odds if you are liking Hooper's chances. Socrates saying, yeah, I smell you, Clint. Those 11 p.m. EST, it's not even main event. I'm too old to stay up too late. Yeah, exactly, dude. Like sometimes cards are done at like 1:30, depending on if they go to decisions or not. Jesus. Die Hard saying, Sam Page, let's get it. Ooh, yeah, MPTV bringing up a JDS's shoulder from last night. Talk about a bad beat for anybody that took the chalk on JDS tonight. I'm lucky that the main books that I'm using right now didn't have Eagle FC odds, because I probably would have just made a degenerate lottery ticket and it probably would have included Junior Dos Santos. So I feel for anybody that got burned by that. Alex Easing had a funny feeling about Mike Jackson win, but Porter is getting smoked. Maybe he gets a DQ win. Who knows nowadays, right? Fuck. And speaking of DQ wins, Hector Lombard, I thought he should have continued last night. I didn't think the knee landed like so hard. It clearly landed, but I think the majority of the damage that Hector took at that moment came from that right hand that put him on his butt. He should have got a DQ win, right? That knee was absolutely intentional. So what separates a DQ from a non-DQ, right? Like if Hector was playing the game by touching the ground and not touching the ground, being a grounded and ungrounded opponent, like doing that switcheroo thing, okay, no contest. But DQ, clear as day that he went for the knee. And I love Thiago Silva. I'm glad it doesn't blemish his record with an L, but yeah. Josh Urge already liking some of the totals. I'll drop that for you guys very shortly, but he's going under 1.5 Almeida, under 2.5 Holmes, under 2.5 Dushko, under 2.5 Medic, over 1.5 Anders. Getting you guys locked and loaded nice and early. I like the majority of those. Yeah. Yeah. I'd say the Dushko one I'm a little bit questionable about. And the Holmes one a little bit, but I do think those have a good chance of hitting. Jose Valentin saying, which fighter do you think has the best chances of getting a submission tonight? Let's see. Most likely for a sub. Based on odds, Jilton Almeida was like minus 125, minus 130 for a sub. I think more so he might get the knockout here instead. I guess somebody in the Chase Super Felipe Colares fight. I'm picking Colares to win, but Poliana Vieira is always live for a sub, but I don't think she gets it tonight though. We'll see. Alex C saying Kobe is backing his girl Poliana since they smashed. Of course. Of course. Remember that shit? Um Stubborn mixing. I'm nervous about the Anders Park fight. I don't know why. Talk me through it. It could be a volatile shit show, right? It could come down to who's stronger, and essentially Eric Anders is stronger, right? It depends on how much of the grappling and clinching Park decides to mix up there. I don't know. That's an iffy fight, and the Park line to me, it's a little bit too wide. I just don't have the balls to go out there and bet Eric Anders at plus 170, plus 160. So I don't know. Tough fight. I'm passing, man. If anything, I'd bet the over 2.5. I think it's around minus 160 if I'm not mistaken. Weird fight though. Andrew Marchenko saying with Jelton giving up 50 pounds, so it was about 41 pounds, but I get what you mean. I feel like he's going to gas out trying to take him down, and it's going to go to a decision. No favorites outside of Chitty have upside on DK today. I don't even think Chitty, like, I think that knockout from Chitty last week or the last time out was, like not saying a flash in the pan, but I don't think that happens more often than it doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Yeah, my guy Brian Jester last night really likes Park as a guy in that range to get a bunch of control times, possibly takedowns and such. I'm hoping that Jilton decides to just use his hands, try to use his speed and his explosiveness to get the knockout. Otherwise, yeah, he could gas himself out trying to get this fight to the ground. Kung Dao Chicken saying, did you notice the size difference between Almeida Poker and Pereira Ponzi? Yeah, the Pereira Ponzi one is interesting, right? Pereira is like a bigger guy at this weight class. And I think that's what people are kind of reading a little bit too much into. Pons is a legit 170er, right? That's his weight class. And Michel is a big dude. That's why he's missed weight in the past. He cuts a lot of weight to make that weight, but let's see how it works out for him in the cage. Almeida Parker, uh God, I want to say Porta. I don't want to keep disrespecting the dude. I like the dude, you know what I mean? But either way, that one, 223 and 264, I think it was the difference. So like 41 pounds. Porter's one of those guys, like he's chunky, right? He's not the biggest. Like if he legit like went into a diet and tried to like legitimately try to make a different weight class, he could make 185 probably. So, but yeah, he has that working for him here. We'll see. I'm not paying the chalk on Almeida. Papa Chuck, appreciate you stopping by, my friend. Stubborn Mix telling Clint to stay out of Jillian's DMs. Sean saying, Andrew, did you see the face-off? Porter look 2 weight classes smaller. Yeah, he's not a big dude. Alex he's saying he pussied out. Die Hard saying Khabib call separates the DQ from a non-DQ. Probably. Probably fucking Lee. Mystic saying Jelton Mauls Porter quicker than Romanov Shermanov or Sherman. Jesus. Shermanov? I'm sure that's a name. Alex he's saying Porter was getting pieced up by Baudo. Jelton going to rip one down the mud pipe. Yep, I think so as well. MPTV saying Eric has 1.5 rounds before he is mouth breathing. Yeah, I'd agree. Hopefully, it's not a shit show. Urso saying Eric is strong, but he looks like he skips legs days. Yeah. He was looking hella lean at the weigh-ins, man. Kung Dao Hui leaning towards Volkov Rosenstrike upcoming fight. I lean Volkov, but 25 minutes against a power striker like Rosenstrike, it's a tough task, especially a smaller cage, right? But overall, better fighter is Volkov still, in my opinion. The Aspinall fight doesn't change my opinion at him at all. Are we expecting Rosenstrike to do that? I don't think so. Alex is saying Andrew said at the media scrub he bet $1,000 on himself. I never really take too much from that, right? Like, it should not impact your perception of how that fight is going to play out because they bet on themselves. Like, what's $1,000? How much is he getting paid? Right? He's getting like what? He's got to be at like 50 and 50 by now. So what's $1,000 to him now? Out with that paycheck. We'll see. Rummy in the chat saying good show with Jester. Yes, appreciate the link right there. Solid, dude. Mystic saying I think people are underestimating Chidi's grappling. If Dushko starts Spanish shooting, he has no Maki patrol. That is true. I don't think Dushko is going to like dominate him on the ground. I do think he'll have good success, but yeah, I think people are overlooking that aspect here. Jazz saying people are really playing Vince. His only shot is left hook, and Martinez is going to chop the legs up. Most confident play tonight. Factory got him more than prepared. I'd hope so as well. I hope so as well. Diehard saying Shermanov, new legendary fighter. Exactly. Could you imagine? He like goes to Eagle FC and just starts taking bitches down and like smashing them. That'll be hilarious. Ryan Maston saying Porky Porker with the upset could happen. Rummy saying Shermanov is a big Moldovan dude with back acne, with back knee, as I like to call it. I love it. Andrew replied to Sean here about Jilton and Parker saying 6'5", 265 and 5'10", 265 still weigh the same, trying to deadlift with a lot of resistance, 60 pounds over the usual, could easily gas them out and run. I do agree in the fact that like that size will come into play if Jilton is going for like relentless takedowns and just trying to drag him to the ground. I don't think that's the way to go about it. I think it's use your speed and an athleticism first here and use that to fuel the power that's likely going to put Parker Porter out here. So I'm not betting on it, but that's what I would assume. Tammy saying, of course, they're going to bet themselves. Yeah. You guys remember Justin James, how that played out? Alex is saying it's an extra 1,800, not too shabby. Yeah. Urso saying co-main event should be the real main event between you and me. What's the co-main? So yeah, Ponzinibbio and Pereira. They could have gotten away with that, right? Let's push Pereira a little bit more. The guy's on a winning streak. He's entertaining. He's likable. Why not? And he's fighting a legitimate UFC veteran who's had main event spots in the past. But nope, let's do Holly Holm. People still know Holly Holm from knocking out Ronda Rousey years and years ago. Troy Noakes saying, what fights are you most excited for? Pereira Ponzinibbio should be fun. Njokuani Todorovic. I just want to see that one play out a lot. Morales Medic, that should be fun for as long as it lasts. I'm intrigued by the Hughes and Reed fight, man. Like from a breakdown perspective, from an analytical perspective, I want to see that puzzle get solved. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that fight. Michael Lehrer saying best cash DFS plays. Ooh, I would highly suggest hitting up my guy Brian Jester. He went over it on his Occupy Fantasy YouTube channel, but I know he really likes Junyoung Park. And the reason why I'm like passing this off now, they just recently like banned it in Ontario. I am no longer allowed to play DraftKings. My mind hasn't really gotten to that point anymore since that happened. So I haven't really been thinking about it from a DFS perspective as much anymore. I'm hoping they bring it back, man. Like to lose out on DFS like that is a bitch. Kung Dao Chicken saying if Holly Holmes loses, is she done? Maybe, but I could still see her. She's getting paid well. They trust her enough to still put her in her main event slot. So maybe a bump in the road here. Maybe she goes back up to 145 pounds, right? Or if she tries to stay competitive there. I don't think she'll be done. She's still in fantastic shape, it seems. Yeah, Pereira Pond should be main event. Kung Dao Chicken saying Poliana Ricci is the FAP and Rios People's main event. I love it. Tristan saying, do you think the Dushko Chitty fight will go similar to Dushko versus G Rod and go to decision? It could. Like I think my official prediction for that fight was Dushko via decision. I think it's going to be a lot of Dushko trying to keep him still and keep him up against the cage. So could potentially be a boring fight. But yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of control time in that fight. Rummy with the Chitty and Park are the best cash plays in his opinion. There you guys go. Creeping Dank saying bantamweight title contention fight, middling welterweights. Still, from like an entertainment perspective, I feel like you could get people more riled up for Pereira versus Ponzinibbio than what we're potentially going to get here with Holm and Vieira. Michael Lehrer, his name is Brian Jester. He runs a channel called Occupy Fantasy. Check his shit out. I believe he did like a 17-minute breakdown from a DraftKings perspective with this guy there. So give that guy some love. Alex E is saying Ponzi fight over 2.5. Almeida, Martinez probably my only plays this card. I think they all hit. Socrates saying sucks after listening to your guest and maybe want to play DFS. I know, man. I love it. Don't Nasty saying best overall fighter on this card is Park. Interesting. I think that it's Holly Holm, honestly. Like relative to the rest of her division, I think she's the best fighter, outside of the champions and all that. Can she still compete at that level at 40 years old? That's yet to be found out. So we'll find that out tonight. Andrew Marchenko saying, since like Sampage, you serious spamming takedowns and scoring well on DK. She's very cheap and probably extremely low owned. I'd have a little bit of her, honestly. I would. Like, I do think even if she doesn't get takedowns, I do think she'll get some control time up against the cage. I'd be surprised if she wants to willingly go out there and just strictly kickbox against Elise Reed. She knows that her path to victory has to involve some sort of grappling. So that's either going to get you control time or takedowns. And again, with her being low owned, got to take a shot, man. You got to be unique, right? Alex, you saying majority of people are picking Ricci or Simps? Nah, I ain't no simp. Daniel saying, what do you think Michelle Saz will play a big factor against Pons? It could, mainly with the strength, right? I think that if he goes for takedowns, it could help him there. But if he goes to it later in fights like he's historically been doing recently, then I don't know if it's going to help him as much being the bigger guy, right? Ponzinibbio is a veteran, man. I think his takedown defense will be good enough to deal with that. I'm not going to take too much from Michelle Saz, honestly. Come Down Chicken saying, lots of greasy decisions tonight. What fighter do you think is getting screwed by the judges? There's some possibilities. I could see Pereira Pons being a possible screw job. Maybe even Angel Kawani Todorovic, control versus damage, possibly there. Anders versus Park. I don't think Martinez and Morales is going to be as close as people are making it out to be. I'm seeing a lot of love for the Morales side, saying that he can make it a close fight. I really think he has a puncher's chance. Otherwise, he's going to get touched up on numbers. Yeah, maybe Hughes Reed. There's a lot of them, man. There's a lot of them. Be very wary about tonight. Troy Noak saying, I think Ponzinibbio will get a KO tonight. Wouldn't be bad. Thank you for the content. Thank you for the support. Make sure you guys hit that like. That's the least I can ask you guys to do. Appreciate it. There's someone, Becky, saying, did you hear Bobby Green's coaches talking about fighters be drinking that secret juice in Thailand? Some names were mentioned in that podcast. Please do let me know. I did not hear about that. Let me know what you're talking about. Mystic saying, in my opinion, Vince Ross is this week's Twitter groupthink of the week. Any tape on him besides the hook he landed on Smoko is nowhere near Martinez's skill level. I think people don't trust the durability of Martinez. I think that's why they're a little bit higher on Morales here. His boxing game is not bad. I mean, I don't want to completely shit on the guy. His boxing game is not bad, but I think he's going to struggle to deal with the kicks and not just to the legs, right? Like body kicks, head kicks. Like Martinez does a good job in terms of gauging his distance and using his kicks to use it as like a distance finder, essentially. So, yeah, I think smoke up. I think Morales will get stuck on the end more often than not. Maston saying co-main definitely more exciting. Only exciting thing about the main event is hopefully catching on Holly. Yep. MPTV saying I'd say this is a good card to bet live / straight bets. Doesn't seem like a good 2 or 3 pick parlay card. I don't see a lot of finishes either. I'm prepping for a long card. Yeah, there's a couple spots where I like violence, but I think for the majority, I think it's going to be overs. Frank Vitoli saying I wonder if Holly imported those special percent vitamins from Gleison Tebow. She's got a great doctor down there in Albuquerque. Let's be honest. Sal Diamato is going to screw somebody. Oof, we'll see. We'll see. Alex is saying, bet to shoot the box on Poliana. I'm going to be watching that fight knowing so many people are going to lose on Ricci. Again, I don't see the Vienna side myself. I don't have a bet on Ricci, but yeah, I think Ricci can grind this one out. Mick saying, damn, the GOAT put Parker at the top of his PRP, putting the house on Anders. This cooler is real. We'll see. We shall see. Alex E saying, always fade the boxers. Have to. Yeah, exactly. Especially when you're fighting a guy with more of a skill set. Let's see. Tammy saying Tiger's on his last hole. I ain't paying no attention to golf at all. Urso saying Jerry podcast with Bobby Green. Okay. I'll check that out. Was that recently? Like, did he do it within the last month or so? Mystic saying thoughts on Rose training with Gigo, who beat Morales, and also Vittori. Um, he's been at MMA Kings for a year now, at least. You know, a couple training camps. I don't know, man. I think this guy has quit in him. I really think he has quit in him. So if he can't get Morales out of there early, I think he's going to struggle. And if he, yeah, if he gets him out of there, great. If not, I think Morales gets his first finish in the UFC. Titanium Shinbone saying, is the small cage changing any predicted outcomes for anybody? Small cage changing. Oh, sorry. No, I mean, for me, like the only one that I actually, you know what? There are no fights on this card that I'm really worried about the small cage. Some people might say a Holly Holm, but I still think I still think she'll do a good enough job in terms of traversing that cage. Mixing, yeah, it is a recent GRE. The Roundtree episode 2 weeks ago is on Fuego too. I've never really been a big Roundtree fan, but I haven't listened to GRE in a while, if I'm going to be honest. Like since he made the switch to Spotify, it's been very rare that I'm been listening to him. I usually listen to most of my podcasts on Stitcher, and like from there, it automatically updates my feed. But yeah, like I felt like I listened to his episode with Shab recently, just for shits, and it's pretty much listening to Shab like 3 years ago, or sorry, pretty much listening to Rogan like 3 years ago. Not really hearing much that I don't already know from him. JC saying decision heavy card. I agree. Mystic saying I think small cage might mean Vienna, Ricci under catches specifically. Possibly. I expect it to mainly play out on the grappling, so we'll see how that goes. MPTV saying Vienna beating Key Boss looks impressive on paper, but losing to Veronica Macedo looks terrible. I'm more intrigued by this fight more than any other on the card. Yeah, that's how I feel about Reed and Hughes for some reason. Kung Dao saying is Sal judging tonight? They're in Vegas. It's possible. Mixing, honestly, the only thing that looks interesting to me is Anders Park fight goes to decision. I could see that hitting. Andrew saying Holly definitely is capable of taking Vieira to the ground, but my question is if she would decide to do it. If she only the Ash, if she only does the Ash from the distance, it's going to score like 70 DK points. Yeah, it's very tricky with Holm and how she's going to come out. Maybe she goes with her striking from outside for the first 2 or 3 rounds, and then look to implement the grappling later when she feels like Vieira might be slowing down. Mixing, but then Anders will throw some junk and knock Mark's teeth out. You gotta love when that happens. That's why I don't bet overs, man. I'm not an overs guy whatsoever. Tristan saying I'm with you, man. Pretty about Jerry. I don't listen to him at all anymore. I love the dude still, right? Like if he has an episode with a really good guest, I'll probably check it out. But for the most part, I'll stick to my usual comedy podcast that I like to listen to. Alex, you saying Andrews is coming out, desperate job might be on the line. He's only on a 1 fight losing streak. I wouldn't even call it a streak. He's only lost 1 fight. He won the one before against Darren Stewart. If he loses this one, then yeah, then I think the burners are on him. JC saying who's hotter, Vienna or Ricci? Ricci's got the booty, but Vienna, I think overall is the hotter chick. Urso saying Adelaide Bird is judging. In fact, yep, exactly. All right, let me drop the final, or sorry, the totals parlay here for you guys real quick, and then I'm gonna hop on out of here because we got 2 hours to the fights kick off, and I have to clean up the pots that dropped from the windstorm earlier, clean up all that soil and shit, and then enter in all the Lock in the Night Dog of the Night challenge stuff. So going to be busy from here until the fights. But here is the totals parlay. So we're going to go Reed and Hughes over 2.5, Morales and Martinez over 2.5, Medic and Morales under 2.5, Park Anders over 2.5, Holm Vieira over 4.5. Once again, Hughes Reed over 2.5, Morales Martinez over 2.5, Medic Morales under 2.5, Park Anders over 2.5, Holm Vieira over 4.5. All right. Please hit that like below. Show your boys some love. If you guys still want more information, or even if you want to go through the full card, once again, I got plenty of podcasts that I've done over the past couple of days. My solo podcast is on this channel right here. So just go to the video section of my channel and you guys will see it posted there. Otherwise, I think we are good to go. Good luck on your bets tonight. My free pick is Sam Hughes, 1 unit plus 145. I got 3 other bets. That's all on the Patreon until I hit my next losing event. Then I'll be back to free picks. But until then, you guys got to check out the Patreon for the full official picks. Yes. Oh, yeah. Thank you, MPTV, for reminding me. Thank you. Wedding reception day, but hope the day is magical and the weather cooperates. Absolutely. Yes. So you guys won't be seeing me live at least until UFC 275. For the UFC June 4th card, I'll be doing my MMA podcast pre-recorded. I'll drop that hopefully maybe on Monday, maybe even before fight week even starts, so you guys can get started nice and early there. But I won't be back until for my live streams until at least June 7th, June 8th week, where we have UFC 275. Appreciate you guys. Good luck tonight. And yeah, Socrates saying 8 likes with 100 watching. What's going on? Hit that like. That's all I'd ask. I'm not telling you to pay me anything. Just hit that. Hit that. I ask if you pay, if you want to support more, that's where you guys hit the Patreon for $5 a month. But if you just want to support and enjoy the content on a weekly basis and just want to say thanks, hit that like below. Appreciate you guys. All right. Good luck on your bets tonight, and I'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Enjoy your off time, enjoy time with your family, your loved ones, and then we get back into this betting game for the June 4th week. All right. Peace out, guys.